G'day YouTube, welcome back to another video of mine. This time I have if hopefully you can see in the background, is I have a group or a forest style trident maple group. Now this is a 7-tree group. Unfortunately it's struggled since I acquired it many years ago. I think it was just where I was before. It was very dry and just kept cooking the roots, and I kept losing trees. Plus it's in a very shallow pot, very shallow container. I'll give you a close look at the container later. It's actually a custom made, handmade Japanese tokonoma pot from many years ago. Brad Smith, if you ever watch these videos, it's still the same group in the same pot from how many years ago. So it's a custom made that was designed based on measurements and was brought into Australia. Very pricey pot, magnificent pot. And this group was actually looking really good. It's starting to struggle a little bit, starting to not perform as well as I think it should do. I think it's because it's in such a shallow pot, and even though the sprinkles on it and everything like that, I just think there's a bit more, it's a bit harder, still struggling. So lots of weeds doesn't help. I think that's just neglect from my part, or just I weed them and then the roots are back again not too long, because I've got the sprinklers going all the time. The moss keeps growing all the time, so that's, in a way it's a good thing. What I am doing is I'm growing cuttings and new little seedlings to go into this group at some time in the future. But at the moment it's a 7-tree group, 3 on this side, 4 on this end, and I'll show you a closer view once I clean all these all this mess out here. You see it all coming apart. But yeah, you can see lots of wire on the tree. I did do a big wiring of this tree, of this group last year, just to get some of the shape back. It is very slow growing, so I think it just shows you the age of the actual of the tree, individual trees in this area. If you look at it from side on, it's pretty good. There's not really many trees that in the same parallel line, so they're all different angles, but they're grouped. Here's a 4 and here's a 3. You've got your odd number. I'd like to see maybe 13 in this group, or 15 trees, just to give it a bit more depth. It needs that depth and so on. But I am going to repot it just because it needs to be repotted. It usually fills the pot again out with roots, as good old tridents do. And I want to try and take care of it a bit better this year, just to get it, see how healthy I can get it, and add trees next year. So I am growing, young seedlings and so on to go into this group, and eventually they'll blend in and look really good with this group. So let me clean all these grass and moss and weeds up, and then I'll come back and show you what the base looks like with the trees. So you can probably see now, cleared all that out, and you can see the trees a bit better. Now these are really nicely, tightly fused. They're pretty much, you'll see when I take this out, it's pretty much one unit, and I treat it as one individual tree. So a couple of things, I think I didn't repot this tree last year, so that's why there's so much weeds. I can tell because the soil it's in is starting to be very compact, and I could see some of the diatomite I used to use, and it's been broken down. So now that I've replaced everything with pumice, that's why this, I think, has been at least 2 years in this pot. So that's why the overgrown. Now the other thing I did is I went to have a look at some of the cuttings that I've taken. So I've got 3 ready. So I don't want to put 3 to this tree because it'll be 10. But I found 2 that I think I'll add in. And they're 2 small seedlings. You can see they're quite tall, and they're from the parent. So this should be good. These will be good, and I'll be using these 2 in the group somehow, some way. I think at the moment I'm going to add one in here. And this one might be go at the back here, just to give a bit of extra depth into the look. So something like that, and I'll keep adding to it over the years once I get a few more cuttings going. Now you probably can see there's a lot of long growth at the top. Now I'm leaving that at the moment because when in spring they'll bud and shoot, and then I'll take cuttings off those big ones. So that's why the plan. That's why they've left everything on. Haven't really taken anything off. Haven't trimmed anything off. So while I put them back in the soil to keep them moist while I do the repotting. So let's have a look. This tree, I don't ever think I wire this in actually. It just pulls out. So have a look at this. I'm very wary of this pot, so sometimes I'm very careful. But it pretty much just comes right out like a little pancake. So there you go. As I promised, pancake. Oh. But again, look at that. Full of roots, no problems at all. Yeah. Oh. So there's that. So I'll prep the pot in a few minutes, but I never actually wired this in. Just wanted to check the signature, no. But this tray, the nice black dark clay, that's typical Tokonama. If you can have a look at you can see the beautiful, well it's a bit dirty now, but you can try and see the beautiful glaze on that. Yeah, lovely pot. So put that aside and I'll prepare it in a few minutes. But you can see this is pretty much flat as you get, so flat. Sometimes I comb it out with this, sometimes I just go straight around with the scissors. And that's what I usually do. So I pretty much come in and just come it right off. And then I comb it out. So I might have mentioned that in other videos where you can just do that. And I know tridents are so resilient, so strong, especially this guy. And you can see it's one big tree. It's not even like separate trees I have to worry about. Yep, so pretty much. The other thing is I found very heavy roots. So you can see very heavy roots in there. It tells me I haven't repotted for 2 years. So that's like a pancake. Look at that. Just a pancake. Save the mesh. So you can only kind of do this if the tree has all fused together, and that takes a while. It takes many years to do that. Sometimes when a newer group, they fall apart again. So I kind of recommend leave the group together until they're fused, even though they might get crazy out of control. But yeah, look at that. That's just pure roots from 7 trees growing together. So there's that. So I'll leave that aside. Clean up my mess and I'll show you what the roots look like now. So now it's much easier to deal with. So you can see it's one tree, one group. It's like one tree. So now it's just be careful as much as you can and start combing these guys out. And again, my mix just all falls apart. It's very easy. I try and get this as flat as I can. So because the tray is so flat, it's got to be flat. So it's got to be as flat as I can get. So you've seen this before. I do it on, this is treating it as one tree, just like my other tridents. And I trim all that off, wash it out, really give this a good wash, and then I'll come back and I'll see where I can position the new seedlings or new cuttings into the group, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what we can show how it all comes together. All right, so bit of work there that needed to happen. Had a really good clean out of all the soil, old soil, and the roots. That's what's remaining. You can see nice little 2 mounds, but they're all stuck together. You see that's all stuck together. I don't want to drop it, but you can see it's all in one. You can see all the roots. One thing I did do is I cleaned out a lot of the weeds and the seeds that were in there. And they were quite extensive. Now I'm just playing around with these seedlings, and I've pretty much they're nice and healthy. I'll give it a little trim of roots, but in a sec. But I was just trying to position where I think they might need to go. And I did like it in here. this needs a lot more trees, so bear in mind I'm just doing this slowly, so I'm adding to it where it needs to happen. So I reckon one will go in here, and one will go somewhere in the back, somewhere in there. Hopefully it stays somewhere in there to give us some more depth. The whole group needs more trees at the back. You see there's this area here, it's very sparse. I need some trees in the depth there, but I want to try and get these side ones growing for now, then keep adding on as the cuttings come along. So I'm going to do that. What I'll do is I'll see if they fit in now, and hopefully they stay in place. And then it only takes a bit of, because the roots are so strong, I can just bury it inside there. It's never going to be in the final position until it starts to grow and develop, and then I'll try and probably wire it into place. So I haven't trimmed any of the top of it. It is bouncing back a bit this way, you can see, but I think it's nice and secure in there anyway, in that little groove. So then I'll repot it and it'll stay in one. So I might have to move it around a little, but that's fine. Let's see if we can get this guy in. Yeah, it's not too bad there. I probably want a bit closer and get in, but I don't think it's going to happen too close. There's too many big roots there, so it's going to be hard to get right in there. Maybe something like that. Or this way. So you got to play around and see what position looks best. I'm just getting it in tight with the roots at the moment. So maybe there. Should we just? You could just probably see it in that space there, just to give it the depth. So there you go. I've actually added 2 trees into this group. Now it's pretty easy. Now it's just repotting it as one tree. Nothing too hard there. So I'll do that. Bring my pot back. I just cleaned it a little bit, and what I did is put the mesh back in. Now I just put a thin layer. Pretty much. I put a thin layer all the way. But I don't do just a thin layer now. Just like with every other tree, you have to mound up the spots that are the highest spots, underneath the base of the tree. Now this has got 2 kind of groups. So what I normally do is, this tree's always, the bigger tree is slightly to the left of the pot. So the big tree always sits in here. So this big tree over here, so it usually sits like that somehow. This tree's more to the left, giving you space here. So I have to mound up. I usually do, what I do is I mound it up slightly in here. So I kind of have a look, that's about right. What I want to do this year is also bring it forward a little bit, because at the moment it's all falling back. So as it's falling back, I want to try and, if I bend it like that a bit, it will come forward more, and that's what I'm trying to do. So I'll just move that for now. So too slight now, it's nothing too major. In around the spots I need it. Let's see how we go. Oops, watch the other trees. So firstly I like to look at it from this angle, where it is. Something like that. And now I've got to figure out, so even though it's like just twisting it back in place, but I also want to mound up the base. So the trees come forward a bit more this year. So I need more soil. And I put it underneath there to boost that back up. And that's brought the tree forward, which is what I like. Now I'm just going to make sure that tree's in the right place. And then I add soil around it. And I don't have to wire it in, it just should hold. Just with the weight of the soil. So I've done that side. This side's not too bad, it's actually coming forward, looks pretty good. Just need a bit more soil. his position. So I'm just going to try and let those trees grow, and then I'll put them in final positions. Once they've grown a bit, it just takes a bit of wire and direction and position them in shape. So it's not that hard to do a group in terms of repotting. And you don't have to work the soil in because it's kind of worked it in. Oh, that's the bit. So it's just a matter of working the soil in. I'll give it a minute, give it a bit of a, just to jiggle it into place. There's not really much roots you can do with this, so that defeats the purpose. So you just want to try and get in around the root ball as much as you can. I usually press it in with my fingers just to firm it up. So today I've been lucky enough to put 2 more trees into this group, which I've been planning for a few years now to get cuttings growing and getting it all working. Now you see I didn't wire this tree in, you could, but I've known this tree well, and I know that it will just actually sits in the spot behind you, but I can't do that because I'm going to keep repotting, so I'll put it in another spot for now. But it pretty much sits in the same spot all year and just go through the process of just growing and so on, and just trimming. So I want to grab some more cuttings from it. Now pretty much I just water it in and it should be good to go. So that pretty much completes that process. I just water it in. I might put a bit of soil up here just to top up so the roots aren't too exposed, but that's pretty much the end of the story for this guy. Good to have 2 more trees in. As I said, I'd like to get a few more in the back here, give it a bit more depth. That's nice, that 5 group, that 4 group, yeah, it's pretty good. So it's a 9 at the moment, so that's positive as well. Having an odd number of trees, I like the look now. So hopefully I can improve this each time. That's really it, guys. I'm just going to water it in, as I said, and that's it. Hope you enjoyed another video. Stay tuned for more. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. You can just subscribe. It's free if you don't know that. Just subscribe so you can get updates of new videos when I put them up. See you next time, guys.